In the headlines, Imo to conduct mass burial for victims of bunkers as bunkers flee security search for illegal refineries. NDLEA arrests drug baron behind 3 billion naira tramadol linked to Abba Kyari's team. Northern elders deny endorsing Saraki Mohammed as Northern Elders Council defends position on consensus. Away from Nigeria, 17 dead in Russian military research facility fire last week. Hello and welcome to Trust News Update. I am Ayuba Ilya. Thank you for joining. The details of the news. Illegal bunkers operating in the oil-rich Ihaji, Egbema and Oguta local government areas of Imo State are on the run as security operatives beam their searchlight on operators of illegal refineries in the areas. This follows last Friday night's explosion at an illegal refinery at Abazi Forest in Abacheke, Pofire community in the Ohaji, Egbema local government area of the state, which has so far claimed no fewer than 100 lives. Our correspondent gathered that there has been mass exodus of illegal refinery operators from the densely populated forest of Egbema, Ohaji and Oguta since the incident. The State Commissioner for Information and Strategy, Declan Emelumba, in a statement on Monday also stated that the state governor, Hope Uzodimma, had ordered the Ministry of Environment to evacuate charred remains of the victims from the incident scene. According to the statement, fumigation of the scene will begin immediately. The victims were given mass burial on Monday. Uzodimma, who in the statement deeply regretted the incident, described the loss of lives as unfortunate and expressed his condolences with families of the victims. The National Emergency Management Agency has conducted an assessment of damage caused at the International Cattle Market, Iware, in Arodokola local government area of Taraba State, where an explosion occurred recently. 9 people died and 19 others sustained injuries in the explosion. Head Taraba Adama Operations Office of NEMA, Ayuba Ladan, who led the team on Monday, said the team was at the site of the explosion to ascertain the level of damage done by the explosion. Ladan stated that the visit was at the instance of the Director General of the agency, Mr. Mustafa Habib, who expressed concern over the unfortunate incident. Ladan, while commiserating with the Taraba government and the victims of the Dastardly Act, said that 121 households were affected by the blast. He added that 9 people died, 28 injured and several others displaced. He gave assurance that the operations office will forward the report to the headquarters of the agency for quick response and intervention to the victims of the explosion. 1 person is killed and about 7 others sustained injuries when explosion rocked a beer parlor known as Gidang Amaria in Gashua, headquarters of Badi local government area of Yobe State. Reports say that a huge sound was heard across many parts of the town at about 8 p.m. on Sunday. Authorities in the local government confirmed the incident. Executive Chairman of Badi local government area, Sanda Kara Badi, said that he has mobilized security team into the scene and ordered for investigation to unravel the root cause of the explosion. Meanwhile, the injured victims were evacuated for treatment at government facilities. It is unclear the group behind the explosion, which happened 2 days after suspected Boko Haram insurgents slaughtered about 10 persons at Kwari Buruthel in Gaidam local government area of Yobe. Last week, the Islamic State in West Africa province claimed responsibility for attacks in 2 bars in Taraba State. Yobe residents have asked the government to consider banning bars, beer parlors, since they are becoming target of attacks. Some members of the Deeper Life Bible Church, Iragbo community in Badagry, Lagos, were injured when the church building collapsed on Sunday. According to the news agency of Nigeria, the collapse, which took place at about 9:30 a.m. while service was in progress, was due to heavy rains. No fatality was recorded in the incident. Topozin Tunde, a member of the church, said 6 members of the church who sustained serious injuries got medical attention. Also speaking, the Bala of Iragbo community, Toma Agodi, said that he was inside his palace when a resident came to inform him that the church building had collapsed. Operatives of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency have arrested billionaire drug baron Afam Okatu. The suspected drug baron is alleged to be behind the 3 billion naira tramadol deal involving the embattled suspended Deputy Commissioner of Police Abakari and his intelligence response team, IRT. A statement signed by the anti-drug agency spokesman, Femi Babafemi, said Okatu was arrested on Wednesday last week by operatives of the NDLEA at the MM2 terminal of the Lagos Airport, Ikeja, on board a flight to Abuja after months of evading arrest. Investigations reveal that the suspected drug baron has been a major importer of large consignments of different brands and high dosages of tramadol, hydrochiride, all of which are illicit, and this is in addition to the operating 103 bank accounts, most of which are used to launder money. Now, the series of attacks in Nigerian communities, particularly in Imo State and Kaduna State, is a source of great concern to citizens. People are particularly aggrieved by the viciousness with which innocent Nigerians are maimed and killed by criminal elements operating under different labels. In this report, Kehinde Amodu looks at the ongoing debate over who is responsible and what must be done to curb these vicious attacks. Let's take a look.
Southwest and North Central, they go under the amorphous title bandits, and since they have now been designated terrorists. In the Southeast, they are addressed by the even more ambiguous title unknown gunmen. In other parts of the country, they are either insurgents, kidnappers, or just plain criminals. But who are they and who sent them? Ever since government threatened to name their sponsors and failed to do so, some Nigerians have suggested that their sponsors may be in government circles. But Imo State Governor Hope Uzodinma, whose state is caught in the throes of constant conflict, thinks this is absurd.
How can anybody even think of a government sponsoring banditry in a country that they are in charge? If that is correct, assuming they're not conceding to you, how many states governed by opposition parties are under the kind of attack that we get from Kaduna every day, that we get from Imo State every day, that we get from Ebonyi State? So if we are the ones, why are we attacking our own states?
So what can be done to deplete the ranks of these threats to society? State governors believe state policing may be the way out. Others are not so sure.
Now, a state governor will sit in their office with the state INEC commissioners and write the result and get it announced without any shame. They're not helping the democracy. So now everybody will be troubled if they show such kind of indiscipline and immaturity. What would they do with police power if it's in their hand?
Rather than state police, how about local government police?
If you go to Anambra State, for instance, we have 21 local governments, then each of them will have their own local government police. In America, we have city police. City, not even state. City police. We have county police. And then there are other smaller places. Even university has its own police.
The truth is, as long as insecurity pervades in the land, there will be no end to this kind of debate. Kehinde Amodu, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Kano State government has commenced a 10-day emergency refuse evacuation and disposal exercise across the state. The exercise is in response to public outcry over accumulated refuse in many parts of the state. Trust TV correspondent Idris Jibrin, who went around the city, reports that so far over 500 trucks of the waste have been evacuated. The report.
Cape Gate is a waste management company contracted by Kano state government to be carrying out routine environmental sanitation across the state. But for several weeks, this company could not operate at full capacity, which recently made a refuse dump to become a common sight in many parts of Kano metropolis, resulting to various inconveniences that are threatening the environment.
This is terrible. It's too much. Even if they build this thing, you can say they get a person for body. If you break a tire, now dust you go to blow. Even for house, we will not feel stay for house. If you see the house, that's why the big thing will enter inside the house.
This dirty, at least they are fighting for coronavirus, but this is more than coronavirus. Every day you cannot breathe, you cannot eat. Even if I'm using face mask to pass there.
Tagged Operation Keep Kano Clean. This 10 days exercise is part of the state government direct intervention toward refuse evacuation and disposal.
We have mobilized resources, and we have also sought for corporate social responsibility from private organizations. So we have had a meeting with all the companies that are undertaking projects in Kano, private companies, and we requested them to support us in any way they can.
The problem of indiscriminate refuse dump, non-payment of refuse evacuation fee by the residents are believed to be among the major factors threatening the productivity of Cape Gate Waste Management Company in Kano.
On a daily basis, we evacuate an average of 50 trucks of waste from Kano. So that is approximately about 300 trucks evacuated over the last 6 days. I believe yesterday we evacuated, I think, about 70 trucks, and I believe today we are going to do more than that.
Although the 10 days emergency intervention by the state government will reduce the amount of refuse dump in Kano, but the threat of environmental pollution may likely remain unabated unless prompt payment of refuse evacuation fees by the residents are accompanied by a properly government-implemented legislative policies. Idris Jubrin, Trust TV News, Kano.
You're watching Trust News Update, coming up shortly. Promoting African values through culture. Details and more after the break.
Daily, we bring you updates around politics.
People like you who are very young, you have no future. Anybody now who is 30 years, if what is happening to them continues, by the time you are 60, you will have no country.
The DPO of a particular unit does not have to wait until the commissioner tells him what to do within his jurisdiction.
We have political parties on the ground. Some of them have been there for years. But they themselves, in their own sober moments, they know that this country is not the one they're expecting to run.
Policy and governance.
Are you saying the NBS is lying?
I'm saying to you very clearly that the NBS has a serious problem with accurate data till today.
The 5th Assembly, as well as the 7th Assembly, their own attempt were unproductive.
Emergence of the Taliban has simply emboldened terror groups globally.
There's a lot of attention with regards to security developments in Nigeria.
On Daily Politics, we interrogate issues, holding the actors to account, bearing in mind all the sides.
We heard that in some places now, people have to go and pay tax, not to the local government, not to the state, but to criminals.
Nobody can come to your house and kidnap you without information.
If this country is bleeding, it is bleeding because we have failed to educate our young.
Thanks for staying. You're watching Trust News Update. Here's a look at the top stories again. Imo to conduct mass burial for victims as bunkers flee security breach for illegal refineries. NDLEA arrest drug baron behind 3 billion naira tramadol linked to Abba Kyari's team. And now on to political matters. Northern Elders Forum has distanced itself from reports that it has endorsed former Senate President Bukola Saraki and Bauchi State Governor Bala Mohammed as consensus presidential aspirants of the People's Democratic Party from the North. A statement by Dr. Hakeem Baba Ahmed, NEF Director of Publicity and Advocacy, said the attempt to engineer a consensus among the aspirants was that of the aspirants themselves. He said Northern Elders Forum is not affiliated to any political party or aspirant and is strongly committed to the creation of a level playing field which will allow the emergence of the best leaders in the 2023 elections. Meanwhile, leader of the Northern Elders Council, Paul Unongo, has defended the position of the region on Saraki and Bala Mohammed's presidential ambition. Unongo told newsmen on Sunday in Jos, Plateau State capital, that he initiated the idea of peaking a consensus for the region. The announcement of Mohammed and Saraki as Northern Consensus presidential aspirants of the PDP by Professor Ango Abdullahi on Friday continues to generate reactions. Tambol has since disassociated himself from the outcome, declaring that the consensus plan had failed, while former Jigawa State Governor Sule Lamido described it as a ruse and unacceptable. Meanwhile, Governor of Bauchi State Bala Mohammed says he does not believe in zoning ahead of the 2023 presidential elections, but rather believes that the focus should simply be to find a leader who is capable of leading Nigeria. Governor Bala Mohammed made the comments during an interview on Channels TV's Sunday Politics. He said himself and Saraki have been asked to decide on who will emerge as candidate to represent the region. While stating that he has the wealth of knowledge and experience to lead Nigeria, he said he will only step down for Saraki if he is convinced beyond reasonable doubt that he will do a better job come 2023. He explained that the only person who he will step down for is Goodluck Jonathan if he declares his interest to run for the president. A group, Dogara Progressive Movement for Sustainable Development, has disclosed that former Speaker, House of Representatives Yakubu Dogara, won't be deterred or succumb to attempts by some individuals to blackmail or tarnish the image and political career of the ex-speaker. The group disclosed this through its leader, Mohammed Nuruddin, on Monday. It said Dogara still represents his Bogoro das Tafawa Balewa Federal Constituency of Bauchi State despite the judgment by the Federal High Court in Abuja. According to him, it was not oblivious of the judgment delivered by an Abuja Federal High Court, adding that the former speaker had already set everything in place to appeal the judgment. An Abuja Federal High Court presided over by Justice D.U. Okorowo had on Friday, April 22nd, ruled that Dogara should vacate his seat as a result of his defection from the People's Democratic Party to the ruling All Progressives Congress. The group attributed the judgment to political machinations by the powers that be, both within and outside Bauchi State, adding that having been on the side of the people, former Speaker will surmount all challenges. National Youth Corps Dance and Drama CDS have held their 2022 Festival of Culture in a bid to remind youths across Nigeria on the importance of culture. The 2022 Festival of Culture had in attendance several dignitaries from across the country. The report.
Festival of Culture is an annual celebration by the National Youth Service Corps members for exchange between artistic and cultural expressions, contributing to the promotion of African values of peace and non-violence. Dances from different ethnic groups were performed by these corps members to remind them of the African culture. Drama was also performed to prompt them on the need to live in peace with one another, as it is a fundamental key to a developed society.
Very beautiful performance.
This year's Festival of Culture aims to harness potentials of the youth towards a sustainable national development.
Stomach infrastructure now resonates more with Nigeria's pauperized electorate than physical dividends during general and off-season elections. In this report, Trust TV's Shafiu Suleiman examines the rise of a political strategy used by the elite to manipulate the electorate to vote in a certain direction.
It was first introduced into the Nigeria's political lexicon during the Ekiti state governorship election in 2014. Stomach infrastructure has, however, been deployed in different forms as far back as the 1980s, when President Ibrahim Babangida introduced the new breed into Nigeria's electoral space. Simply put, it is a campaign strategy deployed by politicians to induce the voting population to tilt towards a direction favoring a political candidate by exploiting their vulnerability to endemic poverty. At first, stomach infrastructure may sound funny. It has, however, proven to be an effective strategy over the years and has helped to secure many electoral mandates. A case in point was the Ekiti 2015 governorship election, where the Ayodele Faishe defeated an incumbent governor, courtesy of stomach infrastructure in form of foodstuffs, live chickens, utilities, amongst others.
The stomach infrastructure is not just that people are demoralized, that people are wicked people. It's better that the elite politics is caused in a manner that people have lost control. There's no entry point for accountability. And therefore, people, you kind of leave it for God. Then just take what comes by you. And what comes to us is loaf of bread, a small section of the gari, and 2,000 to election. What can we do?
I think as a society, we've lost value. We've lost value totally, whereby today if you don't have money, you don't have a voice or you don't have a say.
While trillions of naira was expended by the current administration to close the huge physical infrastructure gap, it has been unable to halt the rise in poverty in the country. This has given room for the weaponization of poverty by the political class, giving rise to stomach infrastructure.
When voters are not being, like they do not get their commensurate amenities, life is hard for them. They are more likely to sell their votes. The issue of vote buying is a problem in Nigeria that it has stayed for so long, and we are working hard at stopping it.
And given the level of poverty that is so endemic, in this country, and the fact that the people are completely, disconnected from the entire governance system.
Voters now openly trade their franchise for a pot of porridge without regards to its long-term implication on good governance. The first thought of the electorate is to survive the excruciating hardship which has become the hallmark of the sixth largest oil-producing nation, considered the largest economy in Africa.
But did you have even
But did you have Come ask me whether I will sell my vote. When I'm not selling, what am I doing?
Sure, anybody I want to buy, please, I will sell.
Why would you want to sell your vote?
Because the vote is not counting.
If we vote with the no catch, you will go call, you will cut our neck.
In a scenario where you choose to sell your vote, how will you complain of the incoming government? Of course, it's unthinkable.
Awareness is a way to help stop vote buying. When people are aware of the fact that they have the right to vote, their vote is their power, maybe they will stop vote selling.
The exploitation of the stomach infrastructure fault line by desperate politicians may have come to stay if deliberate measures are not put in place to check the rising poverty among citizens. There will be a negative impact on the leadership recruitment process, resulting in turn in bad governance. Shafiu Suleiman, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Now, the plan by the Power Producing Company of Nigeria to charge consumers of electricity on a daily basis has elicited reactions from Nigerians. In this report, Trust TV's Kabir Lawal spoke with a cross-section of people in Abuja. The report.
A cross-section of people aired their views, saying that the policy will go down well with them if electricity company provides stable and uninterrupted power supply.
It's not a good idea because some people are salary earners. Sometimes they get money monthly. If you say by every day, they may not be able to pay it. So you should still leave it by every month. It's not good because the advice I have for them is just for them to try and leave it monthly so that salary earners will be able to be paying. Because if you leave it daily, it's only month end they'll be able to pay.
I'm a salary earner. If by the time they are collecting salary, they are collecting NEPA bill every day, then once I get my salary, before the month ends, then how am I going to pay? Because they are not going to pay my salary before the month ends. If I pay it daily and a steady power supply, I think I'm good with it.
Some respondents, on the other hand, lamented that it would not be a welcome idea, especially salary earners who get paid at the end of the month.
I think it's okay, but my own belief is that Nigeria of yesterday is not the Nigeria of today. I hope if there is going to be the electricity, they are going to give us lights, so we know what we are paying for.
Some say the policy will be more effective if government improves on efficiency. Kabir Lawal, Trust TV News, Abuja.
The African Development Bank has announced plans to spend over $1.5 billion to avert food crisis sparked by the war in Ukraine. The AFDB acting chief economist and vice president, Professor Kevin Urama, while speaking during a virtual meeting convened to brief journalists about the agenda of the 5-day meetings, which will hold from 23rd to 27th May 2022 in Accra, Ghana, said that the $1.5 billion food plan will address immediate needs triggered by the ongoing conflict in Europe. He further said that the plan will support farmers with seeds and fertilizers in the next wet season, which starts around October in the southern hemisphere. Urama added that the bank also has a medium to long-term plan to help countries build resilience, known as Mission 1 for 200, which will help farmers boost production to 100 million tons of food to reach 200 million people. And that wraps up Trust News Update. Well, you can connect with us via our social media platforms and subscribe to our YouTube channel to watch us live. I am Ayuba Ilya. Thank you for watching.